The leaders of the G20, the 20 largest economies in the world that meet today in Rome, will try to send a positive message. We have a long way to go and we need to step up to all our climate targets, said Antonio Guterres, the UN Secretary General. The G20 countries have a special responsibility. The G20 countries, which include Brazil, China, India, Germany and the United States, account for more than 80% of world GDP, 60% of the world's population and emit about 80% of carbon dioxide. We still have time to get things right and this G20 summit is an opportunity to do so, Guterres said. In early October, Italian Prime Minister Mario Draghi called for a commitment from the G20 on the need to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius, the most ambitious goal of the Paris Agreement. We will not stop global warming in Rome or in this COP, admitted British Prime Minister Boris Johnson on a plane carrying him to the Italian capital. The most we can hope for is a delay in the rise in temperature. The British Prime Minister also warned on Friday that world leaders must intensify the fight against climate change, stressing that civilization could collapse as fast as the Roman Empire, if no more is done. There is no doubt that this is the reality we have to face, he told reporters, adding that if things did not change course, things would get worse. We saw this with the collapse and fall of the Roman Empire and I'm sorry to say that, but it is still true today, the British Prime Minister said. Chinese President Xi Jinping, who, like his Russian counterpart, will participate in the G20 via video link. Beijing seemed to be retreating a bit when it pledged in September to stop building overseas coal-fired power plants. But China, like many developing countries, is heavily dependent on carbon, which emits large amounts of carbon dioxide, to turn the page, especially in the current context of the energy crisis. The growing shortages and problems in the global supply chain that threaten to derail the pace of economic growth are expected to be discussed in Rome this weekend, as well as the debt of the poorest countries and efforts to tackle COVID-19. However, the only point where progress is expected at this G20 summit with limited ambitions is budget. The global minimum tax rate of 15% for multinationals from 2023 is expected to be ratified at the highest political level, a measure that is expected to bring in an additional €150 billion. Many demonstrations are planned for today in Rome by unions, the far left and the movement Fridays for the Future, with the participation of thousands of people. More than 5,000 police and military have been deployed in the Italian capital, with helicopters and drones constantly flying over the city, and the district where the summit will be held. The G20 will also be an opportunity for leaders to hold a number of bilateral meetings, as they are face-to-face for the first time since the outbreak of the pandemic at an international event. Today, U.S. President Joe Biden and his French counterpart Emmanuel Macron, as well as German Chancellor Angela Merkel and British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, want to agree on a resumption of talks with Iran. Many leaders after Rome and the G20 will travel to Glasgow to attend the UN Climate Summit. It is considered vital to tackle the threat of rising global temperatures and its effects, such as rising sea levels, severe storms, floods and drought. Shortly before annual UN Climate Change Conference in Glasgow, all roads to success pass through Rome, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said yesterday. Leaders of states and governments from around the world will begin arriving in Glasgow this weekend, where the UN Climate Summit kicks off Sunday. Annual UN Climate Change Conference will take place from October 31st to November 12th. Which heads of state will attend the summit, which experts say is the world's last chance to bring climate change under control, and who will be absent? U.S. President Joe Biden as well as climate expert Joe Kerry and climate advisor Gina McCarthy will be in attendance. The White House has announced that another 10 high-ranking U.S. officials will attend. Prime Minister Boris Johnson will attend annual UN Climate Change Conference as his country hosts the summit. He has stated that he is very concerned about whether this meeting will be successful. Also in attendance will be Prince Charles and Prince William along with their wives, the Duchess of Cornwall, Camilla, and the Duchess of Cambridge, Kate. The Prime Minister of Scotland Nicola Sturgeon will also participate, as well as the well-known naturalist Richard Attenborough. President Emmanuel Macron will attend the summit amid diplomatic tensions with Australia following the AUKUS defence agreement. The European Union will be represented by European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, European Green Agreement Commissioner Frans Timmermans and European Energy Commissioners Cantry Simpson and Financial Services Director Marid Maggans. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will attend the summit. After the US and China, India emits the largest amount of greenhouse gases in the world. Australia Prime Minister Scott Morrison has confirmed he will attend the summit. Although many countries are committed to achieving carbon neutrality by 2050, Australia refuses to set stricter targets. At the same time, among others, the session will be attended by Greece Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis, Italy Prime Minister Mario Draghi, Israel Prime Minister Naftali Bennett, Turkey President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, Canada Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, Colombia President Ivan Duque, Sweden Prime Minister Stefan Löfven, Switzerland President Guy Parmelin, South Korea President Moon Jae-in, Nigeria President Muhammadu Buhari, Ghana President Nana Akufo-Addo, Democratic Republic of the Congo President Felix Tshisekedi, current President of the African Union and Argentina President Alberto Fernandez. The President of China, the most populous country in the world, Xi Jinping will not be present at the summit, but will intervene via video link. Xi has not left China since the outbreak of the annual UN Climate Change Conference pandemic. At annual UN Climate Change Conference, China is expected to be represented by Deputy Environment Minister Zhao Yingmen and Climate Envoy Xie Zhenhua. Russian President Vladimir Putin will not travel to Glasgow either, although he will also participate via video link. Queen Elizabeth will be absent from the meeting as her doctors advised her to rest. It will be addressed to the participants via a videotaped message, as announced by Buckingham Palace. Pope Francis will not participate in annual UN Climate Change Conference. A Vatican source said he might send a video message or that Cardinal Pietro Parolin would read a message on his behalf. Iran President Ibrahim Raisi will not go to Glasgow after British media reports that local politicians have called for him to be arrested for crimes against humanity and genocide. Brazil's extreme right-wing President Jair Bolsonaro will not attend the summit. His government has been widely criticized for its environmental policies, mainly due to the massive deforestation of the Amazon. Mexico President Andrés Manuel López Obrador will not be present. South Africa President Cyril Ramaphosa will not travel to Glasgow due to the local elections in the country on November 1. Japan's new Prime Minister Fumio Kishida may participate via video link. Portugal Prime Minister Antonio Costa has cancelled his participation as there is a possibility that the country will lead to early elections. Thank you for watching Two Bros International. Keep watching more business news around the world. For international trade and service, please visit our global trade portal trademyproducts.net and twobroscorporation.com. Please subscribe to us so we can bring you more latest business news.